In Pittsburgh, you're watching World Business Today. Well, let's bring you up to date now with the state of the currency markets. Right now, the US dollar is rising around 1% against the British pound, down, though, about 1/3% against the euro, and also down 1% against the yen.
Well, speaking of exchange rates and currencies, G20 leaders will be thinking hard about the way they fit into the global financial system and how it should be organized in future. China and Russia have called for the US dollar to be less dominant. And a few voices say the best way to achieve that is to introduce a single world currency.
This is my currency, British pound sterling.
Das ist meine Währung, der Euro.
Det här är min valuta, den svenska kronan.
This is my currency, the US dollar.
Some of my CNN colleagues, diversity's great, but wouldn't it be a lot easier if we just had one currency and one language?
Some say it's an idea whose time has come.
The global economy needs to have a global currency.
Sassoli would like coins made of precious metals like gold and vanadium. Of course, as far as language goes, there's been a potential common second language since 1887, when Esperanto was invented.
Well, it's a second language intended for use throughout the world. It's a constructed language, which means it's easy to learn because it's systematic, doesn't have irregularities and exceptions.
But the dream of stress-free travel with almost everyone everywhere using one language and one money may only be a dream. In the real world, economies are too unlike each other for a single currency to work.
If everybody in the world, in their wallets, they're carrying the same coins and notes, then that means that individual central banks don't have any capacity to raise interest rates. That there are no exchange rates. So that makes it harder to manage the global economy.
20 times 6.
As for a common language, only a handful of governments allow for Esperanto teaching in schools. So only about 500,000 people can actually converse in Esperanto.
Why hasn't it caught on?
It's a matter of persuading people that it's a good idea. And you have to convince people individually that it would be a good thing, and you've got to convince governments that it would be a good thing. And unless you have both of these, then it's very difficult to make progress in this kind of way.
Instead, the most popular foreign language is English, and it's much the same in the world of money. 65 years ago, the world powers founded the International Monetary Fund and considered a global currency, the bancor, but it bombed.
It was the Americans, as it turned out, who pretty much determined the way that the IMF developed, which was to promote a global monetary system based around the dollar. And I think we're still going to have, between where we are now to get into that sort of level, the political obstacles are probably insurmountable.
But the success of the euro shows that economies which are alike and interconnected do benefit from a common currency.
Pound? Thank you very much indeed. All the same, having our own national currency and national language is part of our identity. Look at how emotional many Europeans got when they ditched their national currencies and embraced the euro.
Save our business, save our jobs!
And economists say the Pittsburgh summit should focus on jobs and financial reform, not waste time on a global currency.
Well, it's clearly not going to happen. Whatever the logic of it might be, we can be quite confident we're not going to have a world currency.
But practical considerations can't spoil former Italian Mint executive Sassoli's dreams.
I am not an economist. I am, I would say, an inventor.
And his idea has its devotees. Russian President Dmitry Medvedev held up one of the special gold coins at the G8 summit in Italy in July. That has to be seen in the light of Russia's rivalry with the United States and its large gold deposits.